Hello students, in this video I'll discuss insurance services. Insurance. What is the meaning of insurance? Insurance is a contract of indemnity. It is a contract of indemnity in which the insurance company or insurer promises to pay a certain sum of money to compensate loss caused by the occurrence of uncertain event in consideration of periodical payment, that is premium. And if we analyze this meaning, then insurance is a contract of indemnity. First of all, it is a contract between two parties and it is a contract of indemnity. Indemnity means to compensate the loss, in which the insurance company or insurer, the person who do the insurance is called insurer or insurance company, in which the insurance company or insurer promises to pay a certain sum of money. Means insurance is a contract in which insurance company promises to pay money. Why to pay money? To compensate loss caused by occurrence of uncertain event. Mean to say, the insurance company promises to pay the money in case the loss happens to the insured. And why does the insurance company promises to pay a certain sum of money? Because of periodical payment, that is premium. Because the insured person pay the consideration of coverage of this risk, and that periodical payment is called premium. Studying the features. Students, as I told you, insurance is a contract between two parties. Hence, all the elements of a valid contract, such as capacity to contract, consent of party, agreement, should be present in insurance contract. Besides these elements, there are certain other principles which also to be followed at the time of entering into an insurance contract. These are principle of utmost good faith, principle of insurable interest, principle of indemnity, principle of warranty, principle of contribution, principle of subrogation, principle of proximate cause, principle of mitigation of loss. Now we will discuss each principle one by one with example. The most important principle of insurance is utmost good faith. In fact, this principle is followed in every contract. And by good faith, we means absence of fraud. In it, both the parties in the insurance contract, that is insurer and insurance company, must disclose each fact and information related to the insurance contract to each other. For example, Mr. A is going to get a life insurance policy for him. Suppose he is suffering from some disease like cancer, then he should not conceal this fact. This fact is very important to the contract of life insurance, so this must be disclosed to the insurance company. And if the person conceal this fact and insurance company later know this fact that Mr. A was already suffering from cancer and he did not disclose this to the company, in that case the contract will be declared as null and void. Null and void means cancelling the contract. For observing the principle of utmost good faith in case of life insurance, one must has to disclose name, address, occupation, date of birth, age, height, weight, info about health, means that person is suffering from some kind of disease or not, that must be disclosed in case of life insurance. And in case of fire insurance, suppose someone is taking the policy for the building, then one must disclose the construction and description of building, situation of building, nature and of goods and materials. Suppose if some kind of inflammable goods are to be kept in the building, then that must be disclosed in case of fire insurance. And in case of marine insurance, one must disclose name of shipper or client, full description of goods to be insured, means which kind of goods are be transported through the ship, and method and type of packing, because type of packing also affects the safety of goods carried in the ship. One of the most important feature of insurance is principle of insurable interest. For a valid contract, it is essential that the insured has full interest in property or life so insured by him. A person can only take the insurance policy only if that person has an insurable interest in the object or in the life of insured person. A person is said to have an insurable interest in the property if he is financially benefited by its existence and is suffering a loss by non-existence. The examples of insurable interest in various type of insurance is, in case of life insurance, one can take policy in his own life. Also, a husband can take policy in his wife's life. A wife can take policy in his husband's life. If parents help their son financially, then the son in his parents' life. Similarly, if the son is financially supporting the parents, then parents can take the policy in the son's life, and employer can take the policy in the name of his employee. And if we talk about fire insurance, the policy can be taken by the owner of the property, maybe the partner of the firm or maybe the sole proprietor. And if we talk about marine insurance, the insurable interest is with the owner of the ship in his ship. Passengers can have insurable interest in their goods. Employees and captain of ship in their salaries. Owner of goods can have insurable interest in the ship. Principle of indemnity states that the insured can get only the compensation against actual loss and cannot make profit out of insurance, because insurance is a contract of indemnity, it is not a contract of profit. Actually, except for the contract of life insurance, estimation regarding the loss can be made in all other contracts. And according to this principle of indemnity, the insured person will get the amount equal to his or her actual loss or the policy value, whichever is lower. For example, if Mr. X gets a fire insurance of rupees 1 lakh for the goods lying in the factory premises, and by fire those things gets destroyed, and that person suffers a loss of rupees 1,50,000, in that case insurance company will indemnify Mr. X up to rupees 1 lakh, because he has taken a policy of rupees 1 lakh only. And suppose if the loss is only up to rupees 80,000, then he will not get entire rupees 1 lakh, he will get only rupees 80,000, because the insured person is only compensated for the actual loss. Insured cannot make profit out of the insurance. A very important principle is principle of subrogation. This principle has also been defined as the doctrine of rights substitution. Rights substitution means that the insurer steps into the shoes of the insured after settling the claim or after compensating the loss. That means once the insurance company pay for the loss, then he gets substituted. That means he gets all the rights in the property whichever the insurer was having. And this principle is not applicable in case of life insurance. And in it, the right of ownership of effective property passes on to the insurer from insured. For example, Mr. Ramesh household goods were carried from Delhi to Mumbai in a truck that was run by ABCD Transport Services, and Mr. Ramesh got an insurance policy for those goods from Bajaj Allianz. In case the things got damaged due to driver's negligence and Mr. Ramesh suffered a loss of rupees 45,000, and insurer paid that amount rupees 45,000 to Mr. Ramesh. Now the insurer, that is Bajaj Allianz, can collect that loss from ABCD Transports. Now that ABCD Transport is not liable to Ramesh, although Ramesh has given them the responsibility to transfer goods, but as Ramesh has compensated his loss by the insurance company, now the insurance company will step into the shoes of Mr. Ramesh. Means he will that insurance company will get the rights of Mr. Ramesh, and insurance company can claim money from ABCD Transport Service. One more example of principle of subrogation is Mr. X gets his plant and machinery insured with the insurer for rupees 1,50,000. After some time, plant is destroyed due to fire. Now Mr. X claims this loss from the insurer, and suppose insurer has paid the money also, has paid rupees 1,50,000 to X. Now what about the burnt plant and machinery? What about the scrap? That scrap will be taken by the insurance company, as the insurance company has made the payment for the machine, and that burnt plant and machinery becomes the property of insurance company. Principle of contribution. One more example of principle of contribution is, suppose Mr. Singh insured his house against the risk with 3 insurers in the following manner. Sum assured with X is rupees 50,000, means from X company he took an insurance policy of rupees 50,000, and from Y company he took an insurance policy of rupees 1 lakh, and from Z he took the policy of rupees 1,50,000. Totally he got an insurance policy of rupees 3 lakh. His property is destroyed with fire and loss is estimated rupees 60,000. Now don't you think that each and every company will pay rupees 60,000? No, because the contract of insurance is contract of indemnity. It is not the contract of making profit. Only the loss is compensated. So each company will not pay him rupees 60,000. All 3 company X, Y and Z will pay him rupees 60,000 in total. and that money will be contributed by the XYZ in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 3. That is the ratio of the value of the policy, that is 50,000, 1 lakh and 1 lakh 50,000. That means 60,000 will be paid by company X, Y and Z in the ratio 1 is to 2 is to 3. Principle of proximate cause, which is one of the key principle of insurance. It is taken from the Latin word causa proxima. That means proxima means nearest and causa means cause. Nearest cause means if some kind of loss happens due to more than one reason, then according to the principle, the nearest cause of to loss is considered to be the actual cause of the loss. And this principle is very important, and because of claim settlement, because goods are insured for a particular risk, goods are insured against a particular kind of. The example of principle of proximate cause is: suppose an insured person suffered injuries in an accident and was admitted to the hospital, and while undergoing treatment he contracted an infectious disease which caused his death. The court held that the proximate cause of death was the disease and the original cause of death was merely a remote cause. Means that person dies because of the disease, not because of the accident. So the claim is not payable under personal accident insurance, because according to accident insurance, the person is liable to get money if the person get died by the accident. Principle of mitigation of loss. Mitigation means minimizing. That means minimizing or decreasing the severity of loss. Whenever the loss occurs, it is the duty of the insured to take all the reasonable steps to minimize the loss, as would have been taken by any person who is not insured. As such, it is the duty of the insured to act to minimize the loss. For example, a fire broke out in a godown. If the owner does not make any effort to extinguish the fire just because the godown is insured, he is violating the principle of mitigation of loss. The person is supposed to make every effort to extinguish the fire, like he must immediately inform the fire brigade department and make every possible effort to put out the fire, which he would otherwise have done if the godown had not been insured. Principle of warranty is another important principle of insurance. The term warranty here refers to certain terms and conditions which are to be fulfilled by the insured. And in case insured fails to fulfill these terms and conditions, the insurance contract can be declared null and void. That means insurance contract can be cancelled. Warranties are of two types. One is express warranty and other one is implied warranty. Express warranty, as the name indicates, that means which are clearly mentioned. These are written terms and conditions which are mentioned in the insurance policy, and the insured has to fulfill all these terms and conditions. For example, in case of marine insurance, if a person is getting his ship insured from go from Mumbai to Kandla port, in that case the person has to give a warranty that he will not take these ships to another port. He is getting the insurance from going to Mumbai port to Kandla port, and this is written in the insurance contract. Another type of warranty is implied warranty. Implied means understood, the things which are not written but which are to be followed. These are not the written terms and conditions, but still these are to be followed by the insured. For example, a ship duly insured will sail through only that route which is followed commonly by all the other ships. Although the route is not mentioned in the policy, but it is understood that the ship is going to follow the same route which is followed by the other ships, which is commonly followed.